Most men believe hard work is enough, but that's not the full truth. According to Kevin Samuels, real success comes from working smart, understanding people, and mastering both skill and social intelligence. Let's break it down.
The power of image and how it translates across the board, and something that I had to learn when I was a young Thundercat, when I was in sales, okay? So we want to get this going, so I'm going to trust you guys. We're going to keep the likes up, all right? But here's the thing. How many men out there want to be successful in life? If you want to be a successful man in life, go ahead and raise your hand high. Say, I want to be a success. Don't no shame in your game. Just say, I want to be a success. Okay? And if you want to be a success, understand something. Especially in the black community, we were taught wrong. We were taught work hard, work hard, work hard. There's work hard, and then there's work smart as well. Oh, boom. Let's get this up on the screen. 29-year-old blue collar Henry here. Just wanted to say thank you for all the jewels you're dropping for young men. Appreciate it, nephew. You know, I know, here's a funny thing. I know that there are more people out there appreciate the things I'm saying. And we allow the haters, detractors, critics to just watch from the sidelines, because when you're the lead dog, the view never changes. And you have to decide if you want to lead, follow, or get out of the way. That's what it comes down to. You decide to lead, follow, or get out of the way. And here's the thing. And this is something that I really had to grapple with when I got into corporate America, when I started working, because I was under a lot of misconceptions. I really, really was. I was under several misconceptions. And the biggest misconception was that if you just work hard, the rewards will come to you. No, absolutely not. And let me tell you something. Let me tell you something about what I had to learn when I was a young sales rep. Okay, when I was a young sales rep, I was ranked number 2 in the nation. Hold on, I was ranked number 2 in the nation when I was a young sales rep. Okay, this meant I was used to the founders of the company, the people up in the C-suites. I was used to them coming up to me and saying, Kevin, we're going to need you to win the game for us. It was not uncommon for members of the board, members of the C-suite to come out and say, look here, we are behind and we need to report our numbers to Wall Street. And it's just the last day of the month. And a couple of guys did not make their quota. Can you go get us an additional $20,000? My quota was $7,000. We need you to go get us an additional $20,000 on the last day of the month. Now I'm already 300% the plan. I'm already sitting at $21,000, $22,000. I'm thinking about next month, the month after next. I'm 6 months in, and they asked me to go pull another $20,000. And of course I would, I'll skip this part of it, but we negotiated and I made sure it got done, right? I made sure it got done. So here's the funny thing. When it comes right down to it though, I had to learn one thing more than anything else, that there's a work hard component, but I used to always marvel at how my non-black counterparts never seemed to be sweating like we were. My goal was, because I was taught, just like most of you guys, be like John Henry, get out here and just work your ass off. Cold calling in Houston or Dallas, Texas in the middle of the summer in the suit. While my colleagues, they were in the office chit-chatting and they were still making their numbers. And I didn't realize that while I'm going and calling 77-story, an 80-story building to find out who's in there, there's something called a Kohl's directory with the listing of all the businesses in there and the contacts. But you know what? This is one of the biggest things, especially with us as men. We think working hard changes it up. No. So when I was a young sales rep, I was used to my manager coming up and asking me, hey man, we need you to bring in some additional revenue to make the month. That was not uncommon. One thing that I used to think that was interesting is that we had a $5,000 monthly expense budget. $5,000 monthly expense budget. And I was one of these kind of guys who thought, I don't need to rely on those gimmicks. I don't need to take people out to golf. I don't need to take people out to steak dinners because I'm a real ninja. I'm a hard worker, I'm smart, and I don't have to buy my way. Remember we had this whole tricking conversation? I told you, our money mindset is so off. So I'm thinking if I'm number 2 in the company without spending $5,000 a month in entertainment, I'm thinking I'm better. I'm saving the company money. But I never could understand why my manager was always like, yeah, that's cool. I'm glad you're doing that, but you need to go ahead and take your clients out to dinner and things like that. Never made sense to me. Never made sense to me. So what ends up happening? Month 1 happens. My manager tells me you're blowing it out of the water. You're 300% to plan, but you need to just spend that expense budget. Month 2, same thing, but you need to just spend that expense budget. I'm just in one ear and out of the other. Month 3, my boss's boss comes around and says, hey man, you had an incredible quarter, but we need to talk about your expense budget. And I'm thinking, what do we need to talk about? I've saved the company $15,000 and I'm at 300% to plan. See, in sales, you normally get written up when you don't make your number. I'm making my number. I go out of the office on a Friday and I come back. My manager, his boss, the regional vice president, and the CEO were in the conference room and they said, Kevin, we need to see you in the conference room. I see all these people and I'm thinking they're going to ask me to go out and win the game again. Now, the conference room and my office are kind of right next to each other. I should have known something was about to happen. And if HR would have been in there, I would have known I was about to get terminated. HR was not there. And what happened is they talked to me. Get the likes up, folks, so the comment section gets shut off. What happened was they started talking to me about this damn expense account. And I finally said, guys, I don't understand. I don't need to be like that guy and this guy and that guy who have to buy cigars and golf trips and all that kind of stuff. Why do I need to do all that? I'm out here outworking them. And then one of my VPs, his name was Tony. He says, I got it, guys. He's like, I came up poor too, Kevin. I came up poor too. Let me try to explain it to you this way, because I just didn't understand. He said, there's a social side to success. He's like, you think you're helping the company out by making 300% the plan and saving money. But we keep asking you to do something. And every time we ask you to do something, you go above and beyond. But when we ask you to do this, you don't. And they spent the next 2 hours explaining to me the social side of success. He's like, there's something to say. When you sell a client on the value of something and you're giving them something to impact their bottom line, they'll keep you. But when you have a relationship and you're providing value, they'll stay with you for a long time. He's like, think about those accounts you try to win and you're better on price, you're better on service, you're better everywhere. and they won't even take the meeting. Or even if they do take the meeting, and you could be saving them as much as 40%, and you could hit every mark necessary, but they won't leave. And you ask them the question, what is the business justification for the decision you're making? And they can't give you one. And this is what tends to trouble logical, strategic-minded folks the most, because our need to have stuff make sense. This is why you see so many guys who are left brain who look like shit. They don't understand image matters. To them, the job matters. And what we're going to talk about is the social side of success at work, and more importantly, in your personal life. Because many guys who come over here are successful at work, but your fucking personal life sucks. And I'm going to step on a whole lot of toes today. Pack your lunch. And if you get mad at me, I don't give a shit. I'm tired of biting my tongue. Unless you can beat the results, you can't tell me shit. All right. IQ. Know-how. IQ is about know-how. EQ is about know you, and I'm going to add something else. Knowing people. Knowing people is the thing that screws so many men up, especially in these environments, because of the overemphasis on IQ and the rank misunderstanding of EQ. And you think one counts more than the other, EQ counts more than IQ. I want you to understand something. Get your pen and paper out. Because one thing, I'm teaching class today. Money making is a social activity. And success is shared. 48 laws of power. Don't build a fortress around yourself. You'll see many guys who have a high IQ, but they're a bunch of fucking loners and they cannot work with other people. Same thing with women. This is where women, they got the girl code and everything else, because women understand that people matter. When I taught my MIT, men in training, the first thing I would tell guys is, guys, life happens outside and life is about people. So I don't care if you have a high IQ. Tesla's technology was better than Edison's technology, but Edison understood people. And if you understand the IQ part of your life, but your day to day, if you're an A student at production, many guys who are A's at production are a D or F student at social life. I'm sorry, I've grown up with nerds and techies. And put them in a physics class or chemistry class or whatever, they do this. But as soon as they leave the classroom, they suck. They don't have people skills. So what do? They over-index on intelligence. And then they get mad because they cannot influence people to do what they want them to do. Oh, I'm going deep today. This is why companies are not ran by the most intelligent men on the planet. They're not run by the most intelligent people. They're run by the people with the best people skills. The difference between the CEO and you is not IQ, it's EQ. Know-how versus know you and knowing people. And what's the differentiator? Something one of the main reasons I got into image consulting, soft skills. I've spoken at colleges, universities. I've spoken at corporations. I've spoken at lock-ins on the necessity of soft skills. And I want you to understand, many people that you like suck at soft skills. My soft skills, I've developed them over time. And as good as they are, they can always be improved. What you saw was 3 different approaches. But when you have when you have a proficiency at soft skills and a mastery in your profession, you are a force to be reckoned with. Many people have a mastery in their profession, their craft, but they effing suck at soft skills. You want to know one of the biggest indicators? Nobody likes them. Nobody likes them, and they don't have a long history of working with others well. Why? Because soft skills come down to 3 major things: communication, team building, and most important, conflict resolution. Conflict resolution. Conflict resolution is the key to life. Why? Some people walk around life in a perpetual state of war, at work and in their personal lives. No one wants to be around a 24/7 asshole. But if you understand that people matter, and you need to understand people, you can have an eye towards a solution, conflict resolution. And the only way you get conflict resolution is to start out with communication, interpersonal communication. Image is ABCD. Only one part of image is your appearance. How you behave, how you communicate, and how you look online, your digital footprint, is your communication. Interpersonal communication is one of the biggest reasons guys with high IQ and high aptitudes fucking fail in life. Because there is a direct line between EQ and success. This is when people are going to start reaching for the anecdotal, finding the 1 or 2 test cases where somebody is a rank asshole and they've succeeded. You ain't Steve Jobs or Elon Musk. Knock it off. Just admit your EQ sucks. You don't know how to communicate to people. You don't know how to build with anybody. And you don't know how to resolve conflict. This is why I said there's lions and then there's tigers. Lone wolves die in the winter. The pack survives.
Winter is coming.
The lone wolf dies. Why does this matter? Because in corporate America, you can see the guys, men and women who lack EQ are capped. And they either capped at their organization, and most have to leave because they wear out their welcome. People with low EQ wear out their welcome. They are frustrating to be around. They don't have long histories of anything. They don't have long histories of friendships, and they wear out their welcome. They're frustrating to be around because it's all about them. People with low EQ tend to over-index on arrogance and narcissism traits. Now, there's a point to be made that America is a narcissist breeding ground, but we're talking about how to become better. It's not about making more money. Like the most important parts of being a man of value, a high value man, is people. Your network, high value being recognizing you're one of their peers, and you're being used to others in the group. Why is this important? Because so many guys are shocked that when they cross the 6-figure mark, or when they cross the $85,000 mark, when they get into the top 15% of earners, many men are often shocked that their success with women does not map over. Many guys are shocked that they can have standing in their work world, but out in the real world, it matters not. And why? Because there is a social side to success. There's a social side to success when dealing with men. There's a social side to success when dealing with women. There's a social side to success when dealing with both men and women. And if you don't master, if you don't become proficient at soft skills, communication, team building, and conflict resolution, No one's going to work with you for any long term because, and again, you can't work with people who you can't build with. This is why relationships tend to go cyclical. Ladies, understand something. I'm talking to everybody at this point. This is not gender specific. This is a mindset. Just like let's break it down to men. Just like men can understand this in the work world, today many women are not focusing on the social aspects of success, the social side of success, relational success. Many women are biologically more interested in people. Men are biologically more interested in things. But today, women are being taught to prioritize career past high school level interactions. This is where the big differentiators are. Just like in high school was vicious and there's a pecking order. But your social skills are supposed to evolve. They're supposed to evolve in college, in your early 20s, your mid 20s, your late 20s, your 30s, your mid 30s, your 40s. But sadly, too many of the people in their 30s today are still walking around with the social skills, the soft skills of a junior or senior in high school. And you see it in their actions. Quick to anger. Conflict everywhere. This is for men and women. Always pointing at other people for the reason they can't get what they want out of life. That's why I think what we did in Las Vegas was so impactful, because taking it out to the field where the work is real allows you to see soft skills, social skills on display real time. See, many people say, oh, you could do that on the phone, blah, 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 blah. No, motherfucker, you don't know who you're talking to. I can do this one hand tied behind my back because I've learned how to do this. Many people can't walk out into their day-to-day world and go into the neighborhood because you're not liked. And we have undervalued the importance of being liked by others and the group. Just like I undervalued the importance of the expense account in becoming a successful sales professional. I thought all that mattered was making the number. No. And it's even more paramount today in a world where everybody's attention is short and a global connected reality. You got more draws on your attention, but it's the man that can actually have a life that looks interesting that wins. Why is that? Like it or not, gentlemen, unless you want to have transactional relationships with women through your life, which that's your choice. But I've said it before, women love men who cheat. Women hate to be bored, and women love men who have a life that looks exciting. Men also like men whose lives look exciting. Ask yourself a question. Do people invite you to do anything? Do people invite you to go anywhere? When there's a house party or an event or whatever, is your name in the top? Are you on the must-have list? And if not, you got work to do. There are people, if you've ever thrown a party, you know there are people that do like, well, you got to invite so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so. And then there are people in the middle. And then there are people who you could care less if they show up. And then they're the people you don't even want to know you had a party. Sadly, far too many folks online today have those results. Shit. Turn off the music. Turn off the music. Turn off the music. Who's that outside? It's Shirley.
I got beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, lamb, rams, hogs, dogs, chicken, turkeys, rabbits, you name it.
Who told her about the party? Yo, ass, you told her about the party? She brought beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, lambs, rams, hogs, dogs, pigs, fish, chicken. Damn. Many of y'all today, your soft skills, let me preface this and listen. There was an old running, coming from the Bible Belt, on Saturday morning, you used to have Mormons knocking on doors, Mormons, Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. But by far, and then you had the shout out to the Nation of Islam. The Nation of Islam, they be out there selling the final call. But by far, the most gangster of them all was the Jehovah's Witnesses. The Jehovah's Witnesses, ooh, they could shut a neighborhood down. People had outposts and smoke signals popping up. Here they come. What's happening? The Jehovah's Witnesses are on 17th. They're headed towards 23rd. But see, I got to see my grandmother, who was dipped in the blood, baptized at 4 years old, and I learned the Bible at her feet. So when the Jehovah's Witnesses used to come in, my grandmother would put on a pot of coffee and we bang with them. And I watched that woman have conversations with people in a biblical way to where the Jehovah's Witnesses learned that she had social skills and people skills. They go down the neighborhood, boop, 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 skip right on over our house and boop, 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 boop. I was like, man, that's pretty gangster, Granny. Granny had mad social skills, mad soft skills. So I'm like, you know what? Use that for good. The Jehovah's Witnesses made folks want to close their windows, close their blinds, and act like they weren't at home. Many people today have high IQ, but your social skills make the world and the people you want to work with you, deal with you, and relate to you want to treat you like you are that way. They want to close the blinds. And instead of understanding that your social skills suck, you get mad. And this is where I want to give it to the men. Gentlemen, you can have money. You can have possessions. You can have things. But if you want to have a long-term relationship with a woman of value, you're going to have social skills, proficiency. You don't have to be front stage lead singer, but you do need to be proficient. Nobody wants to be bored. Nobody wants to be bored, and no one wants to be around a 24/7 asshole. This is a matter of degrees, not extremes. Yes, look, EQ, social skills are a key to survival. So the man was saying why people complain about Pookie and Ray Ray, they overperform on the social skills. And here's the thing, as an image consultant, I don't necessarily care in my profession why, but I get it. Just like I was watching Auburn preach the other day, and they made a video talk about speaking white. And Preach was talking about how speaking French or speaking in a certain way would cause him conflict at all levels, at home, school, neighborhood, whatever. So he learned how to communicate in a way for survival. That is the core of human existence. We lived as nomads for the longest. But what made modern cities? Human beings deciding to sit down and collaborate and work together for a mutual good. And understand something too, gentlemen. Money making is a social activity and success is shared. You will only go so far without other people. You will only go, shout out to James Evans, you will only go so far without other people. And if you have a track record of not being able to work with people, people have a right to look at you like, what's going to happen? And this is something that can be learned. Introvert, extrovert. That's that argument. There are many people who say, well, that's easy for you to say, Kevin, you're an extrovert. Bullshit. I'm an extroverted introvert. Y'all hear me riffing on Marvel and geek shit. I'm an extroverted introvert. Yeah. I would suggest telling people how to start with the book, Napoleon Hill, How to Make Friends and Influence People, Life-Changing Information. I would take one step before that, Blockavelli. I would start by telling people to understand that people matter. People matter. And if anybody would tell you if they know me in life, I am who I am. I am who I say I am. A lot of stuff I do in my life, I don't put on camera. And people are shocked that you're down to earth because people matter. I go into my local fast food place. I call the people by their first name. I look at their name tag. I look them in the eye. I ask them how they're doing. People matter. There's a social side to success. Now, the question is, how successful do you want to become? I'm not talking about just in your professional life. Let's assume you're going to be as successful as you want to be in your professional life. I don't care about your professional life. I care the fact that your personal life sucks ass. You can tell people whose personal life sucks ass because their energy is off, their aura is off. They're always upset. They're always in conflict. They're upset. They're angry. They're frustrated. They look for conflict, and if there's no conflict, they'll make conflict because they're comfortable in conflict. Because conflict will suffice when your social skills suck. You can't build in conflict. You build in collaboration. Gentlemen, if you want to have a long-term relationship with a woman, you got to understand women are women and we are men. You can't try to get women to submit just because you're a man. Shout out to MTR. He'll tell you what I tell him. You don't win this argument on the facts. You win it on the optics. You win on the optics and the emotion. You can be right all day long. What about the sign language? Shame, guilt, insults, the need to be right. You can be right and still lose the freaking fight. A Pyrrhic victory. So guys, understand, many of us need to realize our soft skills suck. And you're going to have to invest time, effort, and money into improving your soft skills if you want to be successful. And if you find somebody else who tell you don't have to do that, do you want to exchange lives with them? You'll find plenty of people who are going to sit around and tell you, I don't know, you don't really talk about, man, whatever. Do you want to exchange lives with them? Remember, use your logic, gentlemen.
Hard work gets you started, but skill, mindset, and social intelligence keep you winning. Build all three and you become a man who cannot be ignored. Stay focused and keep leveling up.